Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another webinar by Catenda. I'm your host today, Julien Benoit, CCO at Catenda, and the topic I'd like to discuss with you today is data in the AEC industry. What is it and how Bimsync can help? So in this session that will last for about 15-20 minutes, I will try to explain the take we have at Catenda about data, how we can help organizing and collecting it in Bimsync, and what the Catenda portfolio can bring as value for your projects and assets. So as always, if you've seen a previous webinar that I hosted, I always like to start from the ground up and define what we call data. So I just picked one on the internet from the Oxford English Dictionary, and data can be is defined as facts and statistics collected together for reference or analysis. And of course, when we talk about data in the AEC industry, it's a bit a stretch in a way, or we need to improve the scope of what we define as data, but I will try to cover this in the coming minutes with you, so I can give you a better understanding of what we mean there inside Catenda. So to start, I will try to express and present to you how to gather projects data inside our tools, and the tool I will use to demonstrate this to you today is, of course, Bimsync. So a brief demo of where and how we store and collect data for your projects inside Bimsync. The first area will be around the models. And in here, we will allow you to push into the platform IFC models that will allow you to display them in your browser and interact with them as in an IFC viewer, but also query these elements and these objects. So IFC is an information container for your project, and in Bimsync you will be able to click on any object or set of objects, and you will be able to access the data that is hosted into each object. So depending on the object category and the object you will select, you will have a different set of data available. And also, as I mentioned, you can access a various set of data, like more than just one object, and you can do some analysis and extract some information, like quantities, for instance, or all the properties for this object in that example, and this can be extracted. So we allow you to push information container IFC models inside the platform and interact with them, so you can organize the data that is in here and see and refer to it afterwards. The second area we can cover now with another sort of data, which will be with a different kind of information container again, is the collaboration and communication, which is also on projects important and valuable data. So in here I will express or explain how to collect this and this is done with the use of the BCF format. So we call that issues inside Bimsync, and this is the place where you will collect information about the collaboration going on in your project, questions, comments, back and forth queries, and everything will be stored in here. You will store responsibilities, dates, status and types of topics like metadata around this collaboration. You will link that, and I come back later on with this topic about the link and the connectivity. And also you store dates and facts, so you can come back and display the history of things and see what happened, when, who did what, etc. So it's It's another area where you can say you can store and organize data on your project, but it's not about the models. It's not about something that is tangible as an object. It's more a way to store communication data and information data during your project. And this can be organized thanks to this issue domain in Bimsync, and this rely on the BCF format. A third part of Bimsync that can help your project's data to be collected, and this is an area where I would call it more static data, because it's a publication area. It's the place where you will push another kind, again, of information container, documents. Various formats are available in Bimsync. You can display DVGs, you can display the Office Suite documents, and you can, of course, display PDF documents. And this is also a place, and it's more static data because you will not update that frequently. But this is where you will be able to display. So let me show one to you, like this one. Here we go. So you will display and you will store your data as a document, but not only the document itself, but you will also store what happened when. And you will see here that this document has been published by a user with a set date and time, so you can collect this information as well, or it's here at least. And on the side of this panel, you can see that there are more than just the document itself. You have the revisions, you have the approval process, if ever, you have the history of who did what on this document. So this is where we are very close to the definition I explained earlier, that is facts and statistics. So we store the container of the information, we store the model, we store the objects and the documents, but more than just that, we also store metadata attached to each of these elements. So here you can see linked object and so forth, and also issues. So more than just the document itself. Of course, we store as well members data. So that's also part of the project's data you can store inside Bimsync. So this was about gathering project's data and project information. So now let me explain a bit about cross-reference data in Bimsync. So how to cross-reference your different source and different kind of data and information container inside Bimsync. And this is something we think is a kind of a unique value proposition. It's what we call internally the magic triangle, and it's the constant relationship that is can be put and maintained between models, collaboration and issues, and also documents. So I will just demonstrate briefly how we do that inside Bimsync. So let's start from the models, and I will just display some of them in the viewer to show you how it works. So here they are. They were loaded previously. I will just remove this one. Here we go. So when you create an issue inside Bimsync, you have your model and you want to discuss a topic in this area. Let's say I select the window and I need to discuss something with the architect. So for that, I will create an issue and position of the window, and then I will fill in some details, blah blah blah, etc. So I won't do all the old process. I won't do the entire process here. But what I want to emphasize is that by doing so, you create a link between two sets of data, two information container. You have one on the left hand side, that is the issue itself, the communication, the collaboration container, and on the right hand side you have the model with this nice window. So we just create a link. So if you go back now to this issue, you see that I have a related object, which means I just created a link as shown here between model and collaboration. Now, if I go back to this object itself, and I just display the model, when I select an object, it will show in the properties that there are issues attached to it. So it's the other way around. When I click on this object, I see there are 2 issues, and if I click on this closed issue, for instance, I will come back to a previous issue that's been closed earlier and that it's not anymore active, but the link is still there. So when I select the object, this data is connected to the collaboration data that's been set earlier in 2021 in that case. So that's the connectivity between models and collaboration. Also, if I go back to the previous issue, oops, sorry, I can also position of the window. Here it is. I can add documents to that one. So I can select some documents about the architect, let's say. It's a 2nd floor, and I will link 2 documents to this issue. So by doing so, when you see in this issue, there are 2 documents attached to it. And when I click on this document now, you will see that I can read and see everything about this document, the history, etc. But I can also see that there is a related issue concerning the position of the window. So in that case, we covered the link between communication and collaboration data with documents. And it's, as you can see, both ways. If I click on the subject, on the topic here, I will have the documents attached to it. And if I go to the document, there's a direct link to the issue. So we are covering this part of the triangle. And last but not least, I will explain briefly how to make a model document connection. And there are several ways to do that. But if I go back to my model, here we go. And let's say I want to link some documents to this roof. Now, if I select this roof, you see that there's nothing special about it. There's no issue. There's no documents attached to it. But if I display the documents in here on the left-hand side, let's say again about the architecture model, I can select a set of documents that can be relevant. So I find them relevant. And I will say by one click here, link. And now, as you can see, when I select the model, there are 4 documents attached to it. So we just created a link between a model and a part of the model and the documents. Very easy. And on the other way, if I go to this view with a filter and I say, show me all the documents that have linked to it, I will get a list of documents hosted in Bimsync that have a link to an object. And if I select the little number at the end, I will be asked to either if I want to load it or isolate the object. And if I do so, I will have in the viewer, and I can display them like that, a set of objects that are linked to this document. So we just covered model to document and document to model topics. So it's very easy, as you can see, to take care of your data inside Bimsync. Very easy to make the links between those 3 elements that are model and elements of the model, collaboration and communication, and documents. Of course, there's a next level after that. And this will be thanks to the Bimsync API, and this will allow you to make some data analysis. So the REST API that is behind Bimsync is available for customers, depending on your contract and the way you want to interact with us. And then you will be accessing some tools that will allow you to grab information from your project in mass, in a way. You can build some tools, you can display some information with coloring, and also grab the information for all your projects that are hosted in Bimsync. So again, back to my previous definition, it is about analyzing the data that is hosted in Bimsync. And this is a key element of data management, I would say, inside Bimsync. All of this is about the project during design and construction. But we have a new value proposition for you after the project is being built and after the handover. We have in our portfolio a new tool that will allow you to deal with your asset/building data and in different ways. This is called Catenda BOS or Catenda for BOS. So I won't go into all the details. I've done a webinar previously about this tool specifically. But what we are doing in here, or the aim of this tool, is to gather in one place that is available for everyone using the building, non-specialist people, set of data that have been created in the design and construction phase, documents, technical data, data sheets, but also data that is generated during the use of the building operations. So you have a connectivity, or you have a system to have a facility maintenance system with a ticketing system, and it's connected with an API. You have the Explore part, of course, that's the BIM engine in a way. And you also have the connectivity that is possible with actual building data and IoT data. So if you do that, you are available. You can have more than just the data from the handover in a way. So you can have, of course, as displayed on the screen now, you can have the model, the viewer, and you can, by selecting an object, access to its technical documentation, as shown here. When I select this door, I have an access to all the documents that are attached to it, the part and the catalogs and all that. And I can also set an issue, so I can generate data out of this element selection. And furthermore, you also can analyze the data that the building is sending to you, because if you have connectivity to your BMS system or your IoTs, these devices will provide data that can be collected and cross-referenced with the actual building elements. And with that capability, you will be able to collect this information and analyze it. Back to the definition again, it's a set of facts and statistics that can be analyzed. So that's the proposition we have in here with the Catenda BOS. Oops, sorry, going the wrong direction. So that's it for today. It's I hope it's clear enough for you that you can, with us, Catenda, and in Bimsync and Catenda BOS, or with our set of APIs, organize every data you can generate from your projects, and more. You can also use this data to benefit after the handover period from live data coming from your buildings, and do further analysis and collect more information about your assets. I hope you enjoyed this time with me today, and I wish you a very pleasant day, and I see you in the next one. Bye.